Ce grand réalisateur hollywoodien est né en France mais a décidé qu'il voulait faire carrière à Hollywood. Après des études à la NYU, il a travaillé en tant qu'assistant de production sur le film Alien, la résurrection de Jean-Pierre Jeunet. Il a ensuite réalisé 3 films pour Luc Besson qui ont tous connu de véritables succès au box-office. Le Transporteur, Danny the Dog et Le Transporteur 2. Le projet suivant a été énorme, l'incroyable Hulk avec Edward Norton. Son incroyable succès lui a permis de réaliser une autre super production, Le Choc des Titans, avec Sam Worthington. Après quoi, il a prouvé être un réalisateur à succès dans n'importe quel genre, avec le film policier Insaisissable et la comédie Greensby, agent trop spécial avec Sacha Baron Cohen. Ce grand réalisateur hollywoodien est Louis Leterrier.
Hi, I'm Louis Leterrier and you're watching Hollywood's best film directors. So, welcome, this is my home. This is the living room of my little home in Hollywood, California. I live in the Hollywood Hills. Outside I can see, the Hollywood sign. I can see 3 studios, and it's kind of nice. It reminds me every day where I am and what I do. It's like I see that, So, but it's a very nice neighborhood. It's in the middle of everything, and at the same time, it's above it all. So it's very peaceful, and it's full of actors, directors. Everybody lives around here, and it's quite nice. I'm French, obviously, as you can hear from my accent and my horrible name. I grew up in Paris. My parents, both of them are in the movie industry. My dad's a director. My mom's a costume designer. It's interesting, they didn't force me to become a filmmaker. My mom wanted me to be a florist, and my dad wanted me to be an architect. I wanted to do something else. Also, I didn't want to do like what dad did. So I actually, pushed myself and studied in New York. I didn't want to go all the way and study in Los Angeles, so I did 1 foot still in Europe, 1 foot in America. One Christmas I spent my entire vacation by myself doing a little project, a little chase through clouds. But it's funny because I liked doing the stuff, but I didn't mind showing it to people. It was just for me. It was not like, oh, I want people to recognize that I make movies or I'm an artist or anything. It was just for me. It was very, very entertaining. I love to play with action figures and just doing that. A lot of my friends were making fun of me because I was 14 and I was playing with action figures when they were like hitting on girls. So my way to hit on girls was to have a band, So actually it was kind of cool, and I realized that I was like, that was my first relationship to an audience, the public, and I was like, oh yeah, I play drums, they dance, they have a good time, I can make a difference. But I didn't connect that cinema could do this too. And then at a film school, my first job was with a French director in Hollywood, but not through him. I mean, they needed bilingual crew members as much as they could, and I worked with Jean-Pierre Jeunet on Alien Resurrection, the 4th Alien. And that was my first introduction to Hollywood. That was also my first introduction to a French director coming here and how different it is from France. I didn't want to work for a production company per se, so I was not sponsored for a visa. So my visa ran out, and I had to go back to France. At that time, the only person that was actually making American-style movies with an American cast was Luc Besson. And Luc Besson was still working with Gaumont. He didn't have his own production company, and he was making this giant movie called The Messenger, the story of Joan of Arc. I was a second AD. They already had a second AD. And they said no. But I really wanted to work with Luc Besson. So I said, I'll work as a third AD, as a PA. I don't mind. And I became Luc Besson's tea boy. I was bringing tea to Luc, but doing other stuff just because I could, Although, I wasn't paid or recognized to do the job. I was helping the ADs select the cast, rehearsing with the actors. And Luc saw that, and the AD of the second unit recognized my skills and said, become my AD. And I became his second AD on another big French movie with Alain Chabat called Astérix Mission Cléopâtre, which is, this giant French comic book. And it became, ultimately, the movie became, and now it's been overpassed, but, the highest grossing French movie of all time. And it was great. It was a crazy comedy with insane action, 2,000 extras, and On that movie, because all French directors know each other, one day arrives Luc Besson. He told me about a movie that needed an assistant to supervise, but like almost artistically, and that was The First Transporter. It was directed by Corey Yun, a Chinese director who didn't speak English that well, didn't speak French at all. It was in English. It was this big action movie with a very short window to do it. Everybody had stub dates, and he said, you have to prep the movie for that director, and then the director will arrive. Yeah, I'm 26, 27, and Luc has just given me this new job, but it doesn't really exist as a job. I'm like second AD, but also artistic director. While the director is supposed, the other director, Corey Yun, is finishing a movie and is going to arrive a month before, slide into the movie and just direct it. Except that it never happened. And the weekend before shooting, or 3 days before, he and the producer, the American producer, come to my room and say, we'd like to have a word with you. Okay, I thought I did something wrong. But no, they come and they say, Corey is exhausted and he's not going to start the movie. You will start the movie. You will start directing the movie. But they say, you cannot tell Luc because Luc will stop the movie. And I'm terrified. I'm like, oh, well, no, but that's stupid. You know, we've done all that great work. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll start. I'll do a day. And we start the first day and we do car chases. Remember, it was like car chases. And it was fun because all the members of the crew knew me because I grew up with them as a child, you know, but also as an assistant, a PA to a second AD to an assistant. And they were like, oh, come on, Luc, come on, do it. I'm like, action. And they were like, yeah, it was kind of fun. It was like, you know, we were stealing a movie. And the first day is tremendous, and we're getting great stuff, and I'm having a blast, and everybody has a blast, and just because I was not nervous, you know, we were laughing, we were doing insane stuff, we were inventing new stuff, and every time we were doing something serious, we were doing something funny, and we find the tone of the film that first day, and also we find the rhythm of the shooting that first day, so much so that Corey Yun, the director, says, this is great. Do a second day, and a third day, and a fourth day, and a third day. And quickly I became the director, but the ghost director of that movie. He was on set, he was preparing the fights, which are fantastic, but I was directing the movie, I was directing the actors, everything. I must say the actors were quite pissed that I was directing and not this amazing Chinese director. But, you know, after a couple of shots, they were like, okay, that's rolling, that's fine, that's cool, you know, we're making a good movie. You know, in France, if a movie is successful, you have to reinvest the money to make other movies. So in a sense, you finish a movie on Friday with Luc, you start a movie on Monday. So on Friday night we finished the movie. I hand the print. I was not doing promotion because that was not my movie. So Corey and Jason were doing promotions. But he hands me a screenplay, and he says, "That's your next one." I'm like, okay. And there was Danny the Dog, Unleashed. I read the screenplay, it's the craziest thing I've ever read. This one was like the story of a man raised like a dog by this, you know, small-time gangster in London at the time. We turned it to Glasgow with a blind piano tuner. I mean, there was the craziest piece of filmmaking. I sort of said, I didn't have to do it, but he says, that's yours. You do whatever you want. I'm busy doing something else. It's yours. No one gives you, and I still haven't been given that chance ever again, sort of like this is yours, completely yours. Choose any actor you want, put any musician you want, do anything you want, and we did this movie, which is a UFO.
3, 2, 1, action!
The Incredible Hulk. Everybody knows the Hulk. I was a huge fan of Marvel since I was a kid, and always admired what Hollywood was making of these superhero movies. So what I did after doing a few movies with Luc, I did 3 movies with him. I actually wanted to come to Hollywood. I said, I'm gonna risk it all. I'm gonna move here, move my family, and try to do a campaign to sell myself here. That's how you do it. You just have to sort of like really land and work hard. It's actually sometimes more work to get the movie than actually making the movie. And I went around town and met a lot of people, and everyone was giving me like sort of like transporter on a motorcycle, transporter on a bike, transporter this. They will always want you to do the same movie. I never want to do the same movie twice. So, but the one movie I felt really, or the genre I felt very passionate about, and the characters I felt very passionate about, were superheroes, and especially the Marvel superheroes. I got to know Avi Arad at the time, Kevin Feige, and there was instantaneous simpatico. We really liked each other. They saw what I could bring to the movie or to the universe. You know, it takes a long time. And then I went back to France, and then it always happens this way. I bought a place in France, and the day I was moving in, I got a phone call. Come to Hollywood. We want you to do one movie. I was like, Iron Man, Hulk. Hulk? You did a Hulk 3 years ago. Yeah, but we like what you said about characters, and we want you to take a crack at the Hulk and making it a character piece, and we love the way you shoot action, and we want you to make it, to bring that sort of like grounded reality to this screen character that walks around and you know, can control himself and when he's angry. So Hulk comes out, and Hulk is very successful, and you're never in a better position to get a movie going when your movie is #1 at the box office and people like it. So that was that weekend, and Warner Brothers calls me and says, we'd love for you to come and have a meeting. And literally, it's one of these, it's that episode from Entourage where everybody sort of say, you know, want him to do Aquaman, and literally there was that. They were all lined up. Jeff Robinov, Kevin McCormick at the time, Alan Horn, all the physical production people and everything, and they said they were literally seducing me and begging me to do a movie, and I was like, this has never happened to me. You know, if you were to put it in a movie, people would go like, that's too much. No one would go like this, but they were like, yeah, you're a genius. We're such a fan. You would revolutionize cinema and everything.
3, 2, 1, get down!
So Clash of the Titans was a remake of the movie from 1981 that I loved, that I'd seen so many times. That I love the original movie. I never wanted to make a remake, but I was like, I think we can do something else. We can do something that's never been done before. It was like, these are the movies I was doing when I was a kid, you know, that Chase in the Cloud, these little puppet things. I was doing, you know, like, you know, French Ray Harryhausen movies, you know. So I said yes. I said yes right away. I love pre-production because the world's your oyster. You can do anything you want in pre-production. But what I like to do is hit the ground running and really work on the movie and not spend days having lavish lunches and talking about, you know, what if, what that. You know, actually start working on the script. So start storyboarding, shot listing, actually making the movie. Stuff can change. I'm not sort of like married to anything, but it's interesting to see how people react and how people work. But what I like is, that's my favorite period of the movie because you can do anything.
Get the 50 cal on him! Move your asses!
Pre-production on an Incredible Hulk is where you make the movie because you have to storyboard everything, previs everything. One of your characters, your lead, is a CG creature. So it's not like you're gonna get it by, you know, on set and performance. You can previs the entire movie, test it, see what works and what doesn't, because what you don't want to do is just shoot plates, what we call plates, which are like empty shots where you put your character in there, and then have them stack up and stack up and stack up. That can literally double the price of your movie. So pre-production is the most important on this one. So Clash of the Titans is a story of a man who he's the son of Zeus and realizes, you know, when he becomes an adult. And we need to find somebody who was very grounded, but had this extra bit of something, this, you know, inner god. So I met a lot of actors, tremendous actors, but I need somebody, and they have that extra bit, but I wanted somebody that actually was grounded, somebody that was rough, and at the same time could you know, I could push in on a close-up and then you can see that he had this extra bit of soul. But what I liked about Sam is that he'd done many jobs. He was the bricklayer and the surfer and the guy that just stumbled into acting by accident and didn't know if he wanted to continue. And had done, just before us, Avatar with James Cameron. So was extremely technical, but at the same time was like, I don't know if I'm an actor, I don't know if I like this. He was a nomad. He was living, he had a little suitcase of books and a suitcase of clothes and was like, coming to Hollywood, but then on his way to somewhere else. And I was like, stay here for a while. Stay here, let's make a movie together.
Man, it's just, I don't want any trouble, all right? It's just, what?
So Now You See Me is a movie about magicians. They are magicians that rob banks and give the money back to the people. Robin Hoods in a sense. So, like every movie, but this one especially, it's like going to school and learning another job. And Now You See Me was learning how to be a magician and learning the technique of magic and the idea of what a magic trick is and how it works and how you pay it off. Working on Grimsby with Sacha Baron Cohen is almost like the natural progression of what I should have done. I've never done comedy, but I love comedy and I love fun atmospheres on set. And I actually like to have a bubbly set. I've never done drama because I don't think I would be good at drama because I like that no one takes themselves too seriously on set and we're all like, yeah, we're making movies, guys. There's no need to be tense, no need to, there's the pressure of the clock, the pressure of the money, the pressure of all that stuff. But we're making movies with giant scorpions. We don't need to be like, super serious and, and push ourselves this way. So working with Sacha, I was like, yeah, it's gonna be great. We'll have so much fun. Well, comedy is so serious. It's very technical and very hard. And finding the joke, and actually, it's almost like if you're having fun on set, it's not going to be that funny.
You see how much fun I'm having? This is fun!
What you want is actually be tense, and sometimes I operate the camera, and when something comes out, some piece of improvisation that no one thought of, that absolutely is hilarious. You want to be sort of like holding a camera and in tears because it's so funny, and that's the idea. But if you keep it bubbly and it's amusing and everybody's having fun, you fool yourself in thinking that everything is funny, but it's not. Obviously, on Incredible Hulk, we cast Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, and then Edward wanted to rewrite the script. He's a brilliant writer, so I had absolutely no problem with it. And like everything, because he came late, the screenplay had to be readjusted and tweaked, and one day it was raining, so we had to change this, and we couldn't get that scene, etc., etc. Which works very well, except when you have, we talked about, that very sort of like firm pre-production. So, your lead character is that CG guy. Well, you cannot rewrite that CG move, those CG moves all the time, or it's like a domino effect of problems. And that was actually quite freeing because Edward was like, I'm not going to stop rewriting because the technique dictates that, this creature needs to go from A to B. Let's make it the best movie and sort of like solve the problems in post-production. And he was completely right, because had we not found that freedom of filmmaking, that movie would have been very still. In movies, your hero is only as good as the nemesis is, the villain is. So we knew we had Edward Norton as the hero, and Edward as this sort of like, as Bruce Banner has this sort of like dark side. So what I needed was a villain that was somewhat the polar opposite. So I was thinking, and suddenly it came to me, Tim Roth, who had been very selective about the movie he'd done. On set, I loved him. Not only is he a tremendous actor, he's also a brilliant director. So sometimes when we're falling behind on some stuff, I was like, Tim, you do that. So he was on second unit, he was sort of like, co-directing the second unit. If I had to be directing a big giant chase inside on a street with massive explosions, Edward was directing a small little scene between two actors having a very in-depth conversation about what it feels to have a monster inside of you. It's the greatest collaboration to have, is to have people that want to do the same movie, and all together we look in each other's eye and say, let's do it together. There's no ego, let's make the best movie possible.
Sorry, it's a remake. They're coming back now.
Woody Harrelson arrives in the morning, his eyes are like on either side of his head. Literally, I don't know how he does it. And as soon as he hears action, he focuses, and he's the most brilliant actor. He can do everything. Actors cannot do everything. Actors are good at one thing. Woody Harrelson would be the best. He will bring tears, make you laugh, can do an action scene like no one. The worst thing for actors is props. Woody will do stuff with props, will fly his hat, can play guitar, can do tons of stuff, he can sing, he can dance, he can do everything. Woody Harrelson is the most brilliant actor in a natural way. It's funny, in film school, so they needed PAs, production assistant, to block streets. And New York at the time, still now, but was home of big giant movies. So from Last Action Hero, John McTiernan's Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger, was shooting in Times Square. So blocking Times Square is a nightmare. So they used to get kids for free out of film school and say, guys, you want to work on a John McTiernan movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yes. But I remember doing that. It's funny. I remember Zach Penn, who wrote The Incredible Hulk, wrote The Last Action Hero, and I remember meeting him there. I was like, oh, I actually blocked the street and asked you politely if you could wait a little bit while we were rolling, and he actually remembered that moment. On every Marvel movie, Stan Lee has to come and do a little appearance, a little cameo. And the day, he always was walking in and doing like one little line, but he was never part of the plot. And I actually thought he was sad, and it felt like you were adding Stan Lee to the movie just as a cameo. But what I actually wanted to make him part of the plot. So in our movie, the death of, it's not really death, but it's sort of like the hulking of Stan Lee is what starts the movie, where basically Bruce Banner cuts his finger and a drop of Bruce Banner's blood drops into a soda that's put together in Brazil. The soda is shipped to America to a fridge, and the fridge opens, and he's standing and he drinks the fridge and he goes like wazoo or something like this. I will never watch my movies again. I'm done. I will watch them at premieres and stuff. But there's one movie that really resembles who I am personally, stylistically, artistically, is Now You See Me. I think that's the one that's closest to me. There's some films I keep watching that keep sort of like I cannot stop watching. Evil Dead 2. We're talking about Sam Raimi. Evil Dead 2 is one of my favorite movies. Ghostbusters, one of my favorite movies. The best movie ever crafted in terms of story and rhythm. Everything is Back to the Future. I think it's absolutely an amazing movie. I like The Third Man. I like Fight Club. Incredible. It's like a punk movie. It's like, it's like a big FU to the system. I love Fincher. Yeah, Seven is absolutely incredible. I love Steven Spielberg. The greatest filmmaker, commercial filmmaker of all time. I like there's some French movies I absolutely adore. I think Jacques Audiard is actually an incredible filmmaker. I'm gonna keep you guessing. I'm gonna keep myself guessing. I don't know what I'm doing next. I don't know what I'll do in 10 years. I hope you keep enjoying the ride. It's very fun for me, and I do movies for the public. I don't do movies for myself. So I hope that I keep entertaining you, and then I'll see you often and often and often. And you know, don't hesitate to, if you see me in the street, say hi. Bye.